Good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. It's me, Ari Dossett. You can call me Rashid. I'm an anthropologist and sociologist. Thank you for being here with me in another live stream. It was a while since I made my last live stream, I believe, but I've been occupied with other stuff also. But always come to make lives to all you subscribers and members, and also make sure that my live streams are actual and relevant to you. Before I continue, can you all confirm to me if you can hear me clearly, please? Let me know in the live chat. I know there's some of you are already here. Please let us know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. If you'll be here, let's open the live chat. Okay. I see the mentions here. Hold on. If you'll be here, let's open the Okay, I checked on my mobile phone also. The sound is quite loud and clear, that's how it should be. So, okay, everyone else, let's open the live chat too. Please interact, participate. Thank you very much. Okay. One statement that you need to remember. Human beings cannot be just without obeying the Heavenly Father. And I want you to repeat this in the live chat. Okay? There's something quite important. If you're driving a car, then please don't type folks on the road, please. Thank you very much. If you're in traffic, need to cross the road or drive, pay attention to traffic, please. Thank you. If you can type, please type. Repeat this in the live chat. Human beings cannot be just without obeying the Heavenly Father. Please repeat it in the live chat. Human beings cannot be just without obeying the Heavenly Father. I'm talking about just from justice. The just shall walk by faith. The just mean those who operate in justice. Human beings cannot be just without obeying the Heavenly Father. Impossible. Why is this impossible? Because as a human being, you are built with internal deficits to be guided. Every human being has this internal deficit to be guided because we are community creatures. We are meant to function as part of communities. That's why Christ compared us to sheep. Sheep are herd animals. Sheep need to be part of a herd in order to function. A sheep all by itself is in big danger. And a sheep does not even have physical mechanisms to actually protect itself effectively. It has no strong claws. It has no fierce body. So sheep are only strong if they're part of the herd. Or the flock, my bad, flock. Then this. Human beings are community creatures. We have physical needs for our physical bodies. We also have spiritual needs. And the spiritual needs include connection with the community and be led by God Himself. Nobody can substitute being led by the Heavenly Father. All human beings are built and designed to be led by the Heavenly Father. Without that, everything else will crash with you. Simple as that. Now, because worldlings are not serving the Heavenly Father, they lack spiritual guidance. And because they have no spiritual guidance, they end up being directed by evil spirits. Simple as that. And because they are directed by evil spirits, and even when evil spirits are not involved, they just have cycles of society to rely on, they are in lack. Worldlings operate in lack. So because they operate in lack, they have lack of empathy, lack of insight, lack of capability, lack of strength. People that are not delivered People that are not in obedience to the Heavenly Father, they operate in lack. So the only thing they can do is extend the lack that they have towards you. So there's no way any human being can be just without obeying the Heavenly Father. Now that you understand this, you also need to understand why human beings that don't serve God cannot be transparent with one another. In the Western world, you have this movement of people saying, just be honest, just say whatever you think, just say whatever you feel, be open, direct about it. That's the worst advice you can give people. First of all, even if we all were in a perfect state, we still need to be cautious how we affect other people with our actions and our words. Absolutely. It's human to be cautious how you affect others with your words and actions. Absolutely. But apart from that, in this fallen state, we are chronically unstable and unreliable. Human beings in the fallen state are chronically unreliable and unstable. And this is something we have a hard time admitting about ourselves as human beings. We are chronically unstable and unreliable. Nobody wants to admit this about the group they belong to, especially not about themselves as an individual. We have no problem projecting this lack and unrest onto other people, other groups. But we have a hard time admitting that we, apart from Christ, are unstable and unreliable. And in this unstable, unreliable state, we seek compensation from other people. So what they call love in the world is not about narcissistic attachment. Rashid, are you telling me my grandpa and grandma were married for over 60 years that it wasn't true love? Listen, what we call love in the world is self-focused affection. That's all it is. Because that same love would diminish swiftly if people wouldn't get the escape they're longing for. Let's keep it real. When the Heavenly Father talks about love your neighbor as yourself, so it's talking about agape love. It talks about your long-term dedication to serve Him and your fellow human beings. That's what God's talking about love your neighbor as yourself. Of course, you should do this in a joyful and happy mood. But this joy and happy mood should come from the conviction that you're serving God. However, if you're not serving God, that means you're actually looking for escapes. It's all. So those are only two options: either serving God or you're chasing an escape. And human beings that are chasing escapes, they always develop narcissistic bonds with people who are similar to them. And we call those narcissistic bonds love, especially when it comes to the sexual sense. And that's why so many sexual encounters in the world end up problematic or fatal. Not all of them do, of course not. But often it happens that violence occurs within sexual relationships or one partner kills the other. Why? Because human beings tend to become sexual parasites the longer they're not serving the Heavenly Father. Why? Because think about it. As a human being, you're a vulnerable creature. We are vulnerable and fragile creatures, human beings. Yeah, that's what we are. We are capable of achieving a lot together. We can, as a species, because we're made up of God's image. But that image of God in us can only be truly safe and functional if we serve Him. What I'm saying is that human beings are fragile and vulnerable. And human beings have a bad record throughout history of taking advantage of each other's weaknesses and vulnerabilities. We have a very bad track record of handling our own vulnerability and fragility as human beings. We don't want to admit we're fragile and vulnerable. It's something that's scary. We don't want to admit that. We want compensation. But not one compensation we chase is violence. Using a physical or emotional leverage at expense of your fellow human being just to get ahead. Human beings have a very bad track record in dealing with their vulnerability and fragility. And what human relationship between human beings are the most vulnerable in? Marriage, or in general, just sexual relationships. So if human beings have a difficult time admitting the vulnerability and fragility, and sexuality, which is the core for being, is all about being vulnerable and fragile, that means human beings that don't serve God are doomed to have sexual dysfunction, they're doomed to have sexual violence. Human beings that don't serve their Heavenly Father are doomed to end up with sexual violence and sexual dysfunction. Why? Because sexuality is a core of our being, and sexuality is vulnerable and fragile. Simple as that. And that's why so many sexual relationships in the world are either toxic or they end up violent. So it's clear human beings cannot be at their full best and full safety but with Heavenly Father. Simple as that. Neither individuals, especially not groups. So what is this thing called society then? Society is a movement of worldlings, those that are not delivered to escape facing their own fallen state. Society is a fear-based movement powered by human violence in which adult worldlings seek to escape facing their own fallen state. That's what society is. So society can only function as long as the group can injure you. If the group cannot injure or damage you, you will not look up to them. The reason you look up to society or you consider society is so important is because society has the ability to injure and damage you. Okay, let's say you have a wife and a few children, and you just want to live a happy life with your wife and children. First of all, you need food, water, clothes, a place to stay. Also, your wife and your children. How do you get those resources? They're in the environment. Who else in the environment? Other human beings. So other human beings are mentioned in the environment together with you. So you need to get along with other human beings or you to have this marriage and this family. So with fallen mankind, do you remain on good terms with them? With fallen mankind, you're only on good terms with them as long as you're not a threat to their escapes. As long as you're not a threat to people's escapes, they're fine with you. So let's say your name is Howard, okay? And you're married and you have 5 beautiful daughters. But let's say you, Howard, are now expanding your musical qualities. And you also use it to gain financial revenue. This gain in financial revenue and you gain this audience gives you a leverage in daily life of other people. So now you can challenge people's expectations of you. Knowing how fallen mankind is, do you think fallen mankind is going to be happy with Howard? Let me know in the live chat what you think. Do you think the environment around Howard is going to be happy with him now that he, being a family man, being a husband, is also expanding his musical abilities and is getting a leverage in his life? Do you think his environment is going to be happy with him in this new situation? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. I put myself on mute. I'll wait for a minute. What do you think? Let me know in the live chat. I got one answer. Well, that's the rest thing. Oh, by the way, if you're driving in a car or you're in traffic right now and you need to participate in traffic, either by cycling or whatever, please pay attention to the road, police, and traffic thing. I keep saying that because I don't want to hear anyone that got into a car accident because we're listening and responding to one of my questions to my lives. No, 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 no. You listen with your ears or pay attention to it. Okay, let's expand the parable for a moment. You have Howard. Howard is just a common man out there, a common sex drive. Howard has no special abilities, none of that. Neither does Howard's wife. Howard and his wife are fond of one another. By the way, I did not say that actual true sexual affection between human beings cannot exist. It can exist. I'm just saying that in the long run, all there's a narcissistic tone to it. But anyway, Howard and his wife get along together well. They have 5 beautiful daughters. Howard is seen as this hardworking family man. And he often is tired indeed because he's working 40 hours. He's always, most of the hours during the days at work, and he barely has time with his wife and family. His wife is working too. So the daughters also don't spend much time with their parents. Do you think anyone's going to perceive Howard's family as a threat? Let me know in the live chat. Do you think anyone would perceive Howard's family as a threat? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Okay, so Howard is not a threat to anyone. Everyone can just do whatever they're doing, good or bad. Howard is still occupied with surviving for his family. What if the same Howard now wins the lottery, $1 million? He doesn't tell anyone, instead, he begins to expand. And within 5 years of winning the lottery, he has $10 million as a net worth. Do you think people are going to see Howard's family as a threat now? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Hey, Curly Girl, glad you're here. Thanks for joining. So Howard, hardworking family man, wins $1 million, keeps it hidden, invests money. Within 5 years, he has $10 million, and he has assets, financial assets in foreign countries, many places. Yes, now he is a potential threat. Think about it. Now, Howard can decide, you know what? I want to bring more Chinese people over here. He may even help a Chinese friend open a Chinese restaurant. Say, hey, it's $50,000. We'll open your restaurant. You hear me? And now you have a Chinese restaurant in the neighborhood. And with a Chinese restaurant, you have more Chinese people going over there. The neighbor will get annoyed. How the heck do you have so many Chinese people over there? We actually never asked for this. Indeed, we never asked for it. But they had nothing to ask for. Howard had the financial leverage. He decided to help out the Chinese friends with his to open a Chinese restaurant. And it happened. So all the other people who are upset with the Chinese restaurant being there, who do you think they're going to blame? Howard. But that Chinese guy wouldn't be able to have wouldn't be able to have this restaurant if it was for Howard that sponsored him. So yes, it may be annoying with the Chinese restaurant being there, all the Chinese people coming all over the place and being noisy and all of that, but we're going to blame Howard. What I'm saying is Howard can still be killed. He can still be arrested by the police. So they can still use the one thing they love to have, that's violence, to stop him. Look, the only thing society has is violence. Listen, you can be a multi-millionaire. If someone picks up a rock and throws it at your head, you can die and become paralyzed for life. What will your millions benefit you? Or let's say you're a multi-millionaire and you have a few daughters around. People can decide, okay, I can't get to you, but your daughter's there. I can escalate on your daughter just because I can't get to you. And because you don't want people to escalate on your daughters, you tend to behave, make sure people get upset. Listen, only when you are delivered fully are you immune from human violence. Only fully delivered believers, which are saints, have full immunity from human violence. All other people, believers, unbelievers, are subjected to societal violence. Simple as that. Simple as that. So violence is the main thing a lot of people want to avoid. That's why people with a lot of money tend to spend money in the community to keep it at ease. Poor folks, people that are poor, don't get much threats, but they can still be exploited. So they try to give aid to violence. It's very simple. Society can only exist if the public can injure you. The more money you have, the more finances, the less available you are to be injured. But it's not just money, because you could be a multi-millionaire and still be injured, still be harmed by society. It's the spiritual leverage that matters. Once you have a spiritual leverage of the community, you can go around without being harmed. Now, pagans don't have safety. They only have delay of danger. All right? Pagans only have delay of danger. They don't actually have safety. It's only the believer that feels safety in them. But whether you're a believer who has a covenant with the Holy Spirit, or you're pagan relying on demonic slime on top of your energy field, in both cases, you can move around without being injured. With pagans, only for a while, and pagans have side effects too, just so you know. What I'm saying is that society cannot produce the ease all its members want if it cannot injure any member doesn't get along. You get me? Let's say now you want to get. Let me give an example. Let's say you're 15 years old, 15, a teenager, and you want to have some friends to hang out with, but the other teenagers around you, they don't want to deal with you, they reject you, and they have no reason to reject you, but just need someone to be worse off than them for them to feel better. So actually, you became the scapegoat, the victim, because they needed someone to look down upon. Let's say now you move away from those teenagers and you find other teenagers to deal with, and you're perfectly fine. You even prosper with those other teenagers. How will this make those other teenagers who reject you look? It's to make them look bad. And because it makes them look bad, they're going to be upset. And because they're upset, they don't have more unrest. What's going to happen with unrest? Unrest is going to harm them and their environment. So they'll seek vicious unrest on you. So let's say you have Nadia. Let me use Nadia for example. Nadia is 20 years old, and she's been refused by her local neighborhood. She moves to another neighborhood, and it goes perfectly well over there. But now, people from the old neighborhood are going to Nadia's new neighborhood with rumors about her, trying to manipulate people to think bad about Nadia. Why? They are retaliating against Nadia moving on. Nadia moving on simply means Nadia puts their no and their rejection aside and moves on. This revealed that their no or their rejection was irrelevant to begin with. But worldlings cannot handle their refusals or their no's to be irrelevant. Worldlings rely on saying no to feel relevant. Worldlings rely on saying no to feel relevant. So if they say no to you and you move on even for a better option than them, it's going to make them look bad. So they want to come after you. But then the people in the new neighborhood will start dominating. What the heck is wrong with you guys? And now you people from the new neighborhood going against those people too. And before you know, we have a back and forth escalation of violence. So worldlings agree to the following. We all follow the same cycles, and anyone doesn't get along, you have a right to go off with it. That's how worldlings keep their ease together. So in this case, society injures anyone who doesn't give in to the public's restrictions. Because listen, if you have the option to ignore the restrictions and move on, they're going to feel stupid. Because restrictions are all worldlings have. That's why they use violence to cover up the fact that they only have restrictions. Think about it. If you walk in the supermarket and someone screams at you, give me your wallet, you think, get out of there, you're not getting anything. But at that point they gun to your face, you will give them your wallet because you don't want to die or get injured. In this case, they use violence to cover up their lack of power. And because they use violence, you're not going to challenge them. Because all society has. And because you use violence, it's very unlikely you're not going to give in to what they want. Society only has violence to get your adherence. The moment you have options to get away from your violence, it means society cannot function. So, society is a collection of grown worldlings who escape by following the same patterns as all society is. And society has the agreement: you either give in to our restrictions or you die. That's society. You either die because you can't get a job, and because of that, you end up homeless and die like that, or you end up everyone avoiding you and you end up having mental breakdowns and you die of stress or of suicide, or you die because some criminals come after you, or you die because they frame you to get you executed or put in prison for long. It's very simple. You either give in to our restrictions or you die. That's society. But of course, you'll never say it in the open like that. They'll always love bump you while you're growing up. They will always come with excuses why their violence as a group is okay, and why you use doing the same to them is wrong. So society needs to be able to engage with members. So the whole cash flow of society is based on this mutual victimization. Society is mutual victimization. That's what society is. The cash flow of society, the finances of the world, are based on mutual victimization. So, anytime you're not part of this mutual victimization, you hinder the cash flow. But before I continue with the next part of this live stream, is it clear to you now what I've explained about mutual victimization? Let me know in the live chat if you understand it. Let me know. Okay, let me give an example to you now of a story. Let's say you have, let me think of a name, Carla. I'm going to use a female example now. Carla used to be on dating apps all the time. Okay? For 5 years being on dating apps, one hookup after the other, trying to find a man. Always failed. She was on dating apps, in the nightclubs, whatever. After 5 years of clubbing and being on dating apps, she took a break, she had a mental breakdown. After a mental breakdown, people didn't see her for like 6 months. After 6 months, we'll see her. She has her own business. She's part of a team of believers, and she's prospering financially and emotionally. She quit clubbing, she quit dating apps, and now she found a man that's of quality. Okay. Within a few months, she got pregnant of their child also. And she even began to share her pregnancy on Instagram, all that, till the baby was born. She got so many followers. But after her baby began to walk, or at around 1 year old, she noticed that in the neighborhood, there are far more stabbings, there are far more police cars going around, there are far more hospitalizations, there are more businesses going bankrupt. So she realized, hold on a minute. For the past 2 years, I've been improving. I got a strong team of people that support me. I got a husband that loves me. I got a child now that's 1 year old that's walking. I got a big following on Instagram also that's inspired by me. How come in the past 2 years I've been improving so much? The whole town over here is going backwards. Okay, let me explain what's going on. Remember, Carla used to be a party girl, clubbing all the time, dating apps. She used to be wasting herself sexually. But guess what? So many women were wasting themselves sexually. And those nightclubs were actually brothel restaurants. Hold on, let me see. Can you all hear me clearly? I think my Wi-Fi is acting weird right now. Let me know if you can hear me clearly, please. Just want to check this out, but just be sure. So again, Nadia was part of the culture where women waste themselves. The very nightclubs originated in the late 19th century, early 20th century. You had those brothels that began to serve food too. So they became brothel restaurants. And those brothels began to act function as restaurants to hide the fact that they were brothels. And those brothel restaurants became what they call the nightclubs. So now you know where the nightclubs come from. Okay? And they developed in the West. So the nightclubs, they rely on women wasting themselves. So people that work at those nightclubs, they rely on this wasting culture amongst young women in order for them to make the money. And a lot of these low-life men in the community who don't want to contribute think that, hey, why should I contribute? I can also go to the nightclub and get a nice lady anyway. You know what I mean? So this Carla breaking through opened the eyes of many of these women that were clubbing. They thought, hey, this Carla used to club for years. They only got her trouble. Look at her now. She got the quality man. She has a business. Financially, she's better off. And we're wasting money on those expensive nightclub tickets over here, only getting screwed over by all these dudes who don't care about that. So she triggered a movement amongst young women to improve. Because this happened, very few women kept going to nightclubs. So nightclubs became almost empty. So nightclubs had to close because they were running out of business. Now the drug dealers didn't have any place to sell their drugs. Because nightclubs, they used to sell drugs easily over there. So now drug dealers are selling drugs in the streets, which leads to fights and deadly conflicts. Now, a lot of those low-quality men who would take out their unrest on these women in the nightclubs, now they carry the unrest with them. Where's unrest going? They're taking it out at the workplace, on their family members. And now you also have married men who used to go visit prostitutes. A lot of these prostitutes are not doing prostitution anymore. So these married men now take all of that issues out on their wives too. So now you have more domestic violence in the community. And guess what? With domestic violence comes damage. Damage to property. It's public property. For example, someone drives a car and hits it into a store or whatever, or private property during a fight, someone gets injured or whatever. So you have all these damages happening in the community. All these damages cost money to repair. If there was a shooting at a barber shop and the windows were broken, now someone needs to pay for those windows to be repaired. If someone had a car crash and killed a few people, now you need a lot of psychologists in order to give therapy to the surroundings, which is also going to cost money and effort. And all this damage in the community means that the reputation of the town or the city goes down, so it's going to have less customers, means more financial hardship. So in short, Carla broke through, and her breakthrough broke the cycle of wasting that was over a lot of the people, a lot of the women over there. But because a lot of the women now got out of the cycle of wasting, the mutual victimization of the society was shut down. So all the cash flow messed up now. So now, because of the unrest, it keeps escalating here and there. You have more and more damage in the community. And all this damage costs money. Eventually, even the insurance companies said we can't pay out insurance anymore because we can't pay out the damage anymore. It's way too much. Now, in the parable just gave on to you, how long would it take, you think, before people begin to blame this Carla for the community go for the city going backwards. How long do you think it would take for the community to start pointing the finger at Carla? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. How long do you think it's going to take for that city or that town it's going to point at Carla as the cost of things going to work, getting worse with them? How long do you think it's going to take for the business going to say, because it's Carla, we're missing out on money? Because it's Carla, with a lot of unemployment. Because of Carla, we have more people in jail. Because it's Carla, we have more broken stuff in the community. How long is it going to take for it before they begin to point the finger at Carla? Let me know. I'm going to wait for a minute to see your answers. One moment. Curry Gold said within a year. Anyone think sooner than a year? Or maybe longer than a year? It's quite simple. Eventually, people are going to notice on a minute. Within 2 years' time, we have more road rage around here. We have more broken cars. We have more broken buildings. We have more people lose their minds. We have more unemployment. We have more any of that. And within these 2 years, you have this woman over here, this influencer, that suddenly broke through. How? And she used to be one of the people over here. Just a common woman over here. How come this common woman becomes so big and suddenly all everything goes wrong over here? Maybe we'll think about, but they're going to see the connection very soon. That the mutual victimization was disrupted by this woman's breakthrough. And because the cash flow or the finances were based on mutual victimization, that's why now the cash flow is messed up in the community. So all these people that lost money, all those restaurant owners, all those brothel owners, all those nightclub owners, all those drug dealers, all those all those people who used to have a quiet existence, escape all the time, they're all going to be upset with the mutual victimization being shut down. So once they once they see the link that relates to Carla, they all are going to try to find out what's wrong with this woman, who's behind her, who's this and that. And before you know it, Carla is going to have all these trolls on social media trying to discourage her. If that doesn't work, you're going to have stalkers following her, people threatening her son or whatever, her baby son. And that's how the man will accumulate the violence till Carla is gone. Because as long as Carla is there as an example of a breakthrough, her impact is hindering the mutual victimization. And because there's no mutual victimization anymore, the cash flow cannot flow. And because the cash cannot flow, the whole society doesn't work. And because society doesn't work, people get the ease they're breaking for, they lose it. I want you to understand the following. Your breakthrough will be the downfall of society. Your breakthrough will cause society to lose. Society will lose credibility. It will lose its good reputation, if it even had one. It will lose finances. Society will lose whatever fake stability they had. So you breaking through automatically causes losses for society. And it should be. You breaking through means that you move away from the toxic restrictions. So, of course, the flow of victimization will be hindered by that. It should be. But understand this. When you break through, you will upset a lot of people. Why? Because your breakthrough is an automatic backlash on the violence of the masses. The fact that violence couldn't stop you from making this step in your life, or the fact that violence couldn't stop you from prospering, that already is a big loss on their credibility. So that is why your breakthrough will not be perceived as good news. Especially if you were the victim of the masses. If you were the victim that people neglected and now you break through, it's going to be an extra slap in their face. Because not only do you have a leverage over them now that they have no choice but to deal with, that already upsets them, you're also a reminder of how unstable and horrible they are. So it's a double injury to them. Now, this is a narcissistic injury, by the way. You didn't literally injure them, but the expansion injury because they can't escape anymore. Listen, you breaking through is bad news for society. Simple as that. Unbelievers can break through, but because they're unbelievers, they don't have the resources to continue in the breakthrough. So they get shut down easily after a while, especially if they're vacant when the terms expire. But the believer operating in the resurrection power of Christ breaking through, that is extremely bad news for society. Maybe you put your songs on Spotify, and suddenly your shadow band on Spotify, people don't even find you in the search engine. You think, what? I'm on Spotify. I have a lot of music on there, but people couldn't even find me in the search engine. Spotify is hiding you. Because you existing as this process musician, it humiliated a lot of restrictions that people want. And because people can't handle not saying no to you and get away with it, now they want you gone. So to prevent people from being triggered, Spotify hate you. Because the more people go online and see your musical accomplishments, the more people get triggered. When they get triggered, they lose it. So to prevent the amount of violent incidents in the community, Spotify put you on the shadow ban. People can still find you, but look a very hard time to find you. Shadow banning is actually kind of hiding you so the mass is not upset with you. If you're doing something that people don't agree with or people are resisting, anytime you succeed in doing that same thing, it will trigger a mental breakdown in the people resisting it. And once they have a mental breakdown, where is that unrest going? To the environment. And because the environment keeps complaining about the people having mental breakdowns because you're influenced, eventually some of those corporations will begin to shadow ban you or ban you out full. Because if they're associated with you, they will get some of the rage from the public too. They shadow banned some of my novels. I know that for sure. I even have proof of that. The bishop showed one time on YouTube. But I don't mind. It's only one Dutch retail. It's only one Dutch. How to say it? So, it's a Dutch version of Amazon. No, it's not the Dutch Amazon, but you have this Dutch retail search engine that is hiding my novels right now. I know that, and I exposed it. I don't bother with it because that's good news, because that means that I'm having an impact. And my impact is so big that the public seeks to shut down my impact. Strange enough, you have pedophiles writing stories that glorify things done to minors, and they are still on how to say on social retail sites. You can still find their books. People promoting black magic, how to hurt other people with black magic. Their books are still there. So when the public seeks to ban you, It has nothing, it has seldom it has anything to do with you being dangerous, whatever. It simply means you're not in agreement or you're not in harmony with their escapes. Simple as that. Your breakthrough causes losses to society. And people are going to become very personal against you for the losses that they as a community will face. But those losses are the consequence of the if they were operating in the light, similar to you, or just like you, there wouldn't be any losses when you break. Because there wouldn't even be a breakthrough because there's nothing to break through. If the community around you was operating in the light too, just like you, there wouldn't be any breakthrough because you would just be prospering. The reason why your prosperity is a breakthrough because you have to shut down all these violent restrictions against you. So now you understand why you'll be monitored as well as sabotaged the moment you break through. Why? Because you are the people society doesn't want around. Some of you don't want to admit this, but I'm going to say it. Society wants you gone. A big portion of the public, not exactly everyone, no, but the big portion of the public wants you gone. They want you dead. They want you gone. Not only they want you dead, they also want your influence and what you've done in life to be erased. They want you deleted from existence completely. But a lot of people from the public do not want to act out this murder against you directly because they want to end up going to prison, or they don't want a criminal record, or they don't want to look bad. They took someone's life directly. Instead, they will take action to make your life more difficult. You may have family members reporting you, saying, "Oh, this woman is selling drugs in their house." You're not selling drugs at all. You're just working on your paintings. So they have police come to your house often checking if there are drugs. All the police come to your house often makes you look bad, makes you look guilty. People are going to say, how come the police come to your house? There must be something over there. Now you complain about why the police come to my house and harass me all the time. And those same relatives who are the ones calling the cops on you are not saying, whoa, girl, oh, don't worry about it. The police are just racist, or the police just that, or just doing their job. But it's the same people who are reporting you. Why are they reporting you? They know a false police report can get them in jail. So why are they giving anonymous? That's why they do it anonymous, so they can't go to jail. Why are they giving false report about you all the time? Just to make you look bad to others and to hinder you in the art you make. They don't want you to break through. They don't want you to succeed without them saying so. They don't want you to be of any relevance unless they allow you to get relevance. This is the thickness of fallen mankind. Fallen mankind's obsessed with control. They don't want you to exist nor be important unless they say so on their terms. The moment you break through and you become relevant in the community and it's not on their terms, not on their say, there's a problem. They may not come to your face trying to fight you, nor argue with you, but they will take action behind your back things difficult on you. Sometimes it's your own mom or dad doing it also. Or you see what I mean? Or sometimes your own children. Well, that's sad. It's not always the case, but more often it's parents doing it. Yes, the parents were envious and jealous of their own children. It happens. Look, as believers, you walk in love towards everyone. But listen, we cannot walk in love with everyone. So everyone is safe to walk with. You hear me? Just know, society, the moment you break through, whether you're a believer or unbeliever, society wants you gone. You being able to bypass their violence and their restrictions, that's something worldlings cannot handle. They lose sleep at night because of that. They get irritated by that. They are going to take revenge on. They're going to take revenge on you for not staying in your lane, not staying in your place, for not just let them have the restrictions over you. The moment you bypass or overrule the violent restrictions of society, you have to die. They want you gone. Not only want you to physically die and be buried in the ground, they want your memory, your past, your existence to be deleted. Because let's say you have a very great impact when you were alive, and suddenly you die. Even though you're dead now, your impact is still echoing into the future. So they will still encounter your impact, even though you're not alive anymore. So they want to not only take your life, but also want to erase your existence and the impact you have. So understand this: if you broke through to such an extent that there's no way that they can shut down your impact nor your legacy, what will happen to the mass then? They'll end up stuck in murmuring, complaining. Have you ever encountered people that are only complaining and murmuring all the time, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year? It's like they're stuck in complaining and being upset. Most of such people are upset because someone they knew got away with not with not being violated by the crowd, and they were part of the crowd, got upset with it, and because they can't succeed in deleting this individual, that's why they're stuck in this anger. You know what I mean? For example, it can be that a wife leaves her husband, saying, "I can do better than this man. This man is not really what I want. I can find a much better man than this." So she leaves her husband. The husband is heartbroken for like a half year, and then the husband moves on, and the husband ends up a multi-millionaire with a better wife, everything better. You hear me? The woman that left this man, now the ex-wife, thought she could do better, but she was delusional. She ended up with worse, worse and worse. Back then, when she left the guy, she told everyone, "I'm leaving this ex. This guy is shit. This guy is this and that." She had a very big and loud mouth about leaving the guy. But so because she was so open and loud about it, now that the man she left is far better off with another woman, far better than he was with her, everyone can tell her, "Remember how you talked back about your ex-husband? You were leaving, but you were find better. How come he ended up for better than because he ended up so much healthier and better after you left? So you were the one holding him back." This is a big backlash onto her. And because there's no way for her to lie on her ex-husband or to put him in negative daylight or hint him in, now she's upset. Because as long as she lives, this is backfire of her being the toxic one. And now she will take out this anger on her children. She may take it out on a clerk at the store. She may take it out on the waiter at the restaurant. Everywhere she goes, she's dropping this unrest. She's always upset with people because she cannot take it that someone moved away from her restrictions and is better off. That's how narcissistic worldlings are. So that's just one example. I know for sure many of you are listening to this live stream right now. You chose your own well-being and improvement above keeping society happy. Keeping all these people happy will give nothing about you. You preferred your own well-being above avoiding people doing things to you. You put fear aside and said, "Fuck fear. You guys want to be violent, be violent. I'll risk it. I'll go for my well-being. I'll go what's better for me." You guys, you ladies did all of this. And because you did this, you have a bunch of people now wanting you gone. This is not something fun to hear. And if this did not exist, I wouldn't be thought, I wouldn't be making it up. It's not fun. It's not a lovely thing. I don't focus on great, good, and lovely things as they'll do. That's what monsters do. But we have to admit the other things too, because we have to do with them in the life. There are people out there that want you gone. Avert, Demetria, Curly Girl, Liché, Maria Garcia, Nadia, let me see, CK, 3, all of you were here. And I will mention people I can see in the live chat. All of you were here. Listen to this. All of you who sincerely broke through, you have crowds of people wanting you gone. Not only want you to die, they want you to die in a horrible way, and then they want your good impact to be deleted from the earth. They don't do better for themselves. Who are you to do better for yourself? They don't care about the long-term well-being. Who are you to have value for yourself? Who told you the right to have value and good about yourself? That's them. You're not allowed to exist in an important way unless they say so on their terms. The moment you exist in an important way according to God's will, that means not under their blackmail, they get upset. You're only allowed to exist under the crowd's blackmail. That's the world. That's society. The moment you're relevant, but it's not subject to their blackmail, they go off at you. Why do you think you still have child molesters roaming around, but they choose to focus all their anger on you? Because the child molester is under their blackmail. They can get them arrested anytime or hurt them anytime. But you, who has broken through, if they hurt you in the open, it will be bad on them. If they hurt the child molester in the open, it will still be bad. But hey, it's a child molester, it's almost causing harm. They can say we're just protecting the children, whatever. But how are they going to injure you or damage you who has a good impact and they can get away with it and do good? It's not going to happen. That's why they focus so much of their hatred and anger on you. Because you're not under their blackmail. That's why. It's very sad that a big portion of our human species are like this. It's really heartbreaking, really sad that a lot of human beings are like this. It is sad, but hey, it took me a while to process this. And I processed it. A big portion of our species, especially in these end times, are like that. You either give in to our blackmail, you either allow us to be able to damage you whenever we want, or else we take you out. That's it. Most people get along with being blackmailed because they don't want to be damaged or injured. And because they have no protection and no leverage whatsoever, what can they do if people turn on them? Especially if they have little children, they don't want to plan. There are worldlings. There are worldlings with people who are not even believers who break through. And a lot of them end up being killed, kidnapped, or whatever, because the public turns on them. Or they end up in prison for things that they didn't do. When you look at all these people who were released from prison because DNA proved they were innocent, all these people that went to jail or went to prison, for crimes they did not commit, when you look at all these people, most of them, not all, but most of them were people who were having breakthroughs, who were expanding. And this court case came, whether it's a false rape charge or a murder charge, they end up going to prison. If they were innocent, people knew they were innocent, but the public just wanted them to be gone. So they were rotting away in prison till they were released because it came out they were innocent. Because it came out they were innocent, it was a big embarrassment for the criminal justice system, they released them. And someone get some monetary compensation. There was a man that spent 16 years in prison for a rape that never happened. The woman, after 16 years that the guy was convicted in prison, admitted that she lied about being raped, but she just wanted attention for her career. The woman wanted sympathy for her career, so she lied that she was raped. And when this guy was being convicted, she let it happen because she was getting sympathy. And now her career was boosted by getting sympathy as a rape victim. But this guy went to prison for 16 years. Those 16 years he'll never get back. He missed out on time with his children, time with his family. The community missed out on his good qualities because it was a man of good quality. This man of good quality was injured and damaged by society because someone insisted on getting sympathy. And because society didn't want to admit they were dealing with a fucked up woman, they just decided to get along with victimizing the man. See what I mean? So that's why I'm telling you, we as believers, we have to be firm on our leverage that we have. Every morning when you wake up, feel at home, on the earth. Command, decree, declare. Insist on your relevance and leverage in the earth now. We have to train our spiritual leverage internally right now so that it will flow into the physical and becomes also a financial leverage we can use. We have to work on our leverage. All right. We have to. How come society can use prisons, the police, the criminal justice system, or informal things like gangs and all that, or blacklists, just in order to shut you down anytime you don't give in to the restrictions? How come they use violence as a leverage on you and think it's all right? But you're using a God-given power, suddenly that's wrong. Come on now. Listen, we are not focusing on the negative and get depressed. No. We admit the negative and we process them so we know how to deal with the negative when it appears. We stay in joy and happiness so we are strengthened and healthy to deal with every negative is thrown at us. That's how we overcome as believers. So we're not focusing on the negative because we're not paranoid. Neither are we. How to say? We're not looking for demons behind every bush. No. We admit the negative that's there, but also admit the negative can easily be overcome. And that's what we do. Look, walk in love towards everyone. But remember, you can't walk in love with everyone. Simple as that. Okay? As far as it depends on you, be at peace with everyone. If you can't be at peace with certain people in a peaceful way, move away and continue. Just so simple it is. We have to prevent wars before they even be. We have to be ahead of wars to prevent them from even starting, or just shut down violence from the start. Amen. All right. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know, please. Are there any questions about this topic? Let me know. By the way, I made a live stream about Belgium a few days ago, or I believe last week. If you haven't seen it, please watch it. Because that live stream will show you what will happen when believers are not doing what you're supposed to do. Use Belgium as a case study, please. The live stream about Belgium, please watch it. Okay, seeking us, how do we deal with theft of resources? First, if you're relying on resources and cling on to them, that's idolatry. The whole earth is your home, the whole earth should be your resource. I made live streams in which I've explained how to extract strength from the earth in a Christ-centered way. I also make live streams in how to deter violence away from you on a spiritual level. You can deter physical violence away from you through spiritual means. I've made live streams explaining this. Please watch those. There you know how to make sure your plot or your heritage is kept safe. We don't need violence to get rid of violence against us. We just need to overrule the violence on a spiritual level, and then we don't have to deal with it on a physical level. So, watch those live streams on how to deter violence away from you on an angelic level. Watch the live stream how to extract strength from the earth and the Christ-centered vehicles. And those are two things we have to be doing continuously. Amen. All right. By the way, another thing, the Heavenly Father only appoints believers. God never appoints an unbeliever to anything. The Heavenly Father only appoints believers, and He appoints believers with power to benefit the rest of the species. What these worldly leaders are doing is using satanic violence to have their way, and the masses love it and get along with it. That's all that happens. So their authority is based on hoaxes. We just deal with it out of for practical reasons. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar, and give to God what belongs to God. Give to Caesar belongs to Caesar. All the stress, all the sickness, all the diseases, all the sorrows are the result of Caesar oppressing. So give it back to Caesar. Give bounce Caesar's violence back to Caesar. Caesar only has violence that brings sorrows. Give those sorrows back to Caesar while you submit yourself to Christ. Amen. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. This has been abused by churches to make you think, oh, you have to give acting the government us from you. No. It simply means all the violence, all the destruction, all the heartbreak, all the issues and sicknesses that are caused by Caesar or worldly authorities, give it back to them. Send it back to them while you keep doing the will of the Heavenly Father. If you have to deal with some tribute, from tax, whatever, you pay it just to get rid of them harassing you. All right? So give unto God what's God's, and let Caesar have his bullshit, please. Give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. Give Caesar back his bullshit. They keep doing the will of the Heavenly Father. Because if you belong to the Heavenly Father, you don't belong to Caesar. Caesar has nothing. Simple as that. That's it for now. Keep in Christ, and I'll see you next time. Shalom.